Well, today or this week is actually the 5th-year anniversary of the resurrection miracle. So I thought, let's regain where we were by that period when that entire thing happened. For me, yours truly, it was a very crucial moment. It was a moment that I actually realized something about the type of stuff that I'm doing currently. And so that particular event was very crucial to that. And so I thought, you know what, let's go back and let's talk about that. It's the reality show with the daily Christian commentary videos. And so there was a lot that happened, and there's a lot that entire thing actually meant. Personally, before that event, I used to think, the social media stuff, I think it's for it's for worldly people. I used to think that. I never thought Christians had a place online. I thought maybe like people that are outside the country, or like in America, if you are an American, then I thought it was for them. I thought this is just not something that thinking. And then 2016 towards 2019, I was slowly coming back to doing content on social media, but it was here and there. I was doing other things, do this and that, and then go do videography, editing and stuff, trading. I also teach. Like I was doing other things basically, so that I could find something stable financially that would allow me to preach without hustling, because preaching online was not a thing, particularly Africa. It was like, unless you're a church, only churches used to do this online. Until that event. So how does this event come about? Sunday clocks up. One of my friend, Yolo, sent me a message. And I didn't see the message initially, because I was very, when you are rationing data, you don't want to waste data and stuff like that. So I was kind of like off and not wanting to waste data. So I didn't see the message the same day. And then in the evening, that evening, I also didn't see the message. I didn't check it. The next day, morning, I also don't see the message. It's only during, it was like in the evening, that's when I actually saw the message. Was that a Monday or Tuesday, somewhere around there? That's when I actually ended up actually checking out the message, or the message that she had sent me. And in the message she was saying, Ricky, there's this story that happened. I don't know if you can cover it. By the time, I think I was at 6,000 subscribers or something. I spent the rest of the night, researching the story, watching the full video, and then I realized, okay, there was nothing we were missing. It really just happened exactly like that, the way it appears on the video. And then I researched the topic of what happens when a person dies, or what's the process that they go through when a person dies. So I researched that post-mortem, what do they call it? The whole thing of preservation of the body and whatnot. I forgot the name. Post-mortem. I think that's what they call it. I can't remember. And so I researched that, found clips that explained it and articles and all that. Because in the video, they had mentioned that they were transporting Elliot Moyo to Zimbabwe. So as a result of that idea of transportation, my research was based on that. What is it that they do to preserve the body going there? Or is the car refrigerator? What is going? And so that formulated the idea for my video. And by around maybe 5, that's when I was actually starting to shoot the video. I shot the video. I think by that weekend, my mom was not there. And so I was still staying at my parents' house. And so they were leaving in the morning. And so that's why I only shot the video at 5 to 6, because that's when both my mom and dad were going to work. And so the moment they just left, I switched on the light and I started shooting the video, which ended up being this particular thumbnail video here. Shot the video, edited it from about 7 all the way to 10, uploaded the video. Now, the video, the same day when I actually made the video starts trending online. So it starts being on Facebook. It starts being on YouTube. The blogs are writing about it. The news platforms, what you name it. Everybody was on that story. So as a result of that, the first day of that video being up, I think it got like 30,000 views. First day. Twitter, I think everybody by that time, people were very comfortable on Twitter. Even though Twitter has always been toxic, but people were a little bit more comfortable. Twitter right now is an unbearable place, basically. But by that period, Twitter was really popping on that story. And there was a whole trend, like different groups and stuff like that actually used to there was days for trends for certain topics, and what Ask a Man was a certain day. I think it was like Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, like those things. So on the day when this came out, it completely shot through everything. And then by the next day, we started hearing statements from the funeral parlor. And then we had updates of who Moyo was. We had people that worked with him. We had, I think there was, around that time, there was also a special assignment thing that was done on the faking of what? Miracle. It was a special assignment episode and stuff. And then after that, there was the whole topic. I think there was a pastor that went there. We don't want to talk about who that was. He went there. He was looking for clout. Saying, what he did is wrong, what, and it trended. It created an entire trend. Now, through all this entire thingy, what it did is just that it boosted the video even more. Remember, before that, I had never thought Christians could online. It's not a thing for Christians, this thing. Only churches which are very well-funded spaces can actually do this. So that story was the first time I actually see over 100,000 views in one particular sitting or in 1 month. Never seen that before. And so it created a whole thing. I had a video that did very well. I think it was a Timo Motoso's arrest video. That was years before that. And that video, I think it ended up at 20,000, but that was after a few days. And so I'd never seen a video go that far, this far. So because of the exposure of the video, because it kept on, it was like a gift that kept giving. The funeral parlor does this, they are going to court. They're building what. And so there was constantly a reply subject around it. The church made a statement. What? Before you know it, I think by the end of the week, which is where the video, I think my video was at 300,000 on the third day. And then there was, the story started trending overseas. Okay, so the story went to the UK. And I think there was a few people that spoke about it in the UK. I remember a Jamaican YouTuber made a video about it, but then a YouTuber from the UK by the name of KSI made a video about it, and then that created another bump of viewership. My video ended up at about 700 and something thousand by the end of that entire trend. And so that was my week by that period. And then by the end of the week, there was a Melusi. He asked we do this entire speaking engagement. And that's actually where I ended up meeting Solomon and Maponga and all these guys. And so I ended up going to that event. It was a week-long event and stuff. But that was literally the first time I thought, okay, we can do content in this space. I always saw apologetics videos from other countries, and I myself used to do maybe one video every 2-3 days. There's something, then you make the video on that. But it wasn't a daily thing. But then that showed me something. It showed me timing. It showed me informative, if a video is informative enough. And if the video does bring a different aspect. And if a video is presented very well. Now you can tell by these days I used to really sit on the thumbnail while designing thumbnails and stuff like that. And so my video had all of that. That's when I learned never make a sloppy video. Never make a sloppy video. So I always make it clear that I make videos. So you'll see there's always a setup. Right now you don't have a setup because it's all in the dark, power outage and stuff like that. But I learned then that, as long as your video is informative, your video is education, but also your video covers an angle or an aspect, viewpoint that people might not be thinking about, there is a place for it. But also, I learned through that experience that the things that I'm thinking people see, it's not always that. We often just think, oh no, people get it. Sometimes they really don't. Sometimes they really just don't. And through that experience, that's when I saw that a lot of times it's just out of sight for a lot of people. It takes a lot for them to see it. Okay, to see what the aspect of whatever subject matter you're covering that they might not be thinking about. And so that's when I learned if you're going to do content, it has to be very well structured, thought out, and you have to pace the video. I think in that video, I had to cut out the first 5 minutes. Once the video was online, I had to cut it out because I realized that I take too long to talk about a topic. I just kept rambling and talking about and then how social media was reacting instead of presenting the things that actually made my video different, which is why the video went this far. The video went that far because there was something that the video presented that other people might have not been thinking. When I spoke about the process of preservation of the body, that's the thing that stuck my video out. Once I explained that process to say, for them to transport the body, this is what must be. And then when I was breaking down the things that are being said and compared to the how that would look, the idea that they were just passing by and then they just happened to thingy, there was a lot of things there that just didn't make clear sense. The lady that's there crying is the landlord, and you're like, okay. Like, really? And so that video showed me a lot. I then went on to do like normal videos, like back to doing normal videos. But then I saw the importance and the value of it is when you have to have a style. And that video taught me. That's why you won't see me just doing a video anyhow. I just take a video, slap it up, and then throw it online. No, I don't. Because I've learned through that experience that you don't know who's watching that video for the first time. That video ended up at 700,000. Unfortunately, I don't have the screenshots here. I think the other ones might be on Facebook or something. But this video right here was how you ended up with Ricky doing daily content. It was when I saw there is a space for us to have that conversation. Before, I used to do like social commentaries, like I would do like videos on whatever was trending, if it was news, but I gave a Christian perspective to all these things, questioning morality about this and what and all that. But I landed on my strong suit is the Bible, okay? So I don't have to be covering all these other things. My strong suit is the Bible, I know that. And so we all have our place. This is where I am. Someone is a lawyer. Someone is what. So for me, this is what. And I learned a lot during that period. Presentation. I was absolutely terrible with presentation, man. I was terrible with presentation. I had to learn presentation. I used to just sit like this and talk. Just talk. My videos were not even well paced. I spoke slow, like it was not as fast, but I had to learn that. Okay, can you be as fast? Like, hey, chop, 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 chop. And so all these aspects of development then came through. And then 2019 ends with us losing that other channel. And then I started back up, re-uploaded those old episodes. And then this is where we are. By the end of thing, I think some of the people from the previous channel were looking for the channel, so they found it. And then 4 years later, we are here. So, hello, how are you? Did you just meet? Where were you? What happened? So for me, that's where I was. That's where I learned there's a place for Christian content and it's much needed. That story was, for me, the light that says, do it. Because you could see some people just don't get it. And, from that period, yes, we know that, the church started losing members. Of course, by now he's gained back most of those members. But he started losing members from that period. And some of the bigger pastors started leaving and stuff. There was all kinds of trending stories around the church, his church and stuff. And then Jay came out, and then there was a whole exposure. I think it was 2020 or so. And so it was a whole thing. But that's where I was from 2019. I don't know what about Charles. I was doing other things, Mandams was doing other things. I was trying to see, is there really a place for this? But through that story, I was able to see there is definitely a need for that. Sometimes we assume people get it. Sometimes they just don't get it. You see something, they don't see nothing. They just don't see it. That's where they are. Some people are either brainwashed. Some people are just, their brains, as when it comes to thinking about it, it's just completely collapsed. So sometimes we need people to remind us so that we can see it. Some people, they just don't get it. So y'all tell me, where were you by that period? That's where Ricky was, But Ricky's story is not everybody's story. And that's how I ended up doing apologetics straight on the daily basis from that period. By 2019, I didn't start doing daily episodes. I only started doing daily episodes 2020. So 2019, when that entire thing happened, I wasn't doing daily content. It's only 2020, that's when I actually started. And then roughly around the same time when I started doing daily content, COVID hits. And then that became a whole thing. And so, where were you? What was happening in your life? It's Ricky. Tell us down in the comment section. Love to hear your story. And I'll see you on the later on. Y'all have a good one.